Hey there, welcome to Vision. I'm Lindsay Morshauser-Poe, the host, and we've got a great show for you today. I want to welcome our first guest to the studio, Dr. Wendy Hurd. She is from the Department of English, and she's also the director of TESOL, and we'll get to that here in a minute. But big honor for you this year. You were named the Mississippi State 2017 Humanities Teacher of the Year. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Can you talk about this, what that honor means to you, both professionally and personally?
So this has been, really a great honor since I started at Mississippi State in 2011. I've met other teachers who've been named Humanities Teacher of the Year. I'm lucky enough to work with some of them in my department, and I'm just honored to be, counted among those colleagues. And I'm really excited too because as a linguist, I love that this brings a focus on linguistics as one of the humanities, because linguistics is a study of human language, and that's the way humans interact with each other. It's how we communicate with each other, and so it's such a part of being human and the humanities.
And it's bringing a focus to that, and that's exciting for you. Wonderful. So what comes with the honor? What do you get to do this year? I know you give a presentation. Let's get to that in a second. But you get honored in Jackson, and just talk about that a little bit.
So I'll be giving a talk later this semester. It's on the last day of classes, Wednesday, November 29th. And then next semester in February, I'll be going to the program in Jackson where I and other teachers from around the state will be honored.
Wonderful.
And I also, I think it's a great time for me to draw attention to in the English department that we have our TESOL certificate program, which is very successful, and we have our linguistics minor.
Okay, wonderful. So a couple different honors. Can you speak any more on that presentation? Maybe give us a little synopsis. What's the title? I know it's in the Honors College is where it's held, right?
That's right, and it begins at 3:30. And I'll be talking about linguistic variation. Specifically, the title is Socio-Phonetic Variation and its implications for the classroom. The major focus of the talk will be on variation in the way we pronounce things, because I'm a phonetician, so I study the production and perception of speech sounds. But I also want to talk more broadly about variation. So depending on our social backgrounds, so maybe where we're from, our different social networks, we all use language a little bit differently. And so my focus is really going to be about how we should embrace linguistic diversity. And whenever we meet other people, instead of, for example, I'm from the Midwest, so I say caramel, and it's not uncommon. If I order something that is caramel, someone will say to me, "Oh, you mean caramel?"
Right.
And I'm like, no, I meant caramel. And I think it's this great opportunity to say, yeah, I say these words differently than you, but that doesn't mean one person is more educated or more intelligent than the other. It just means we come from different social backgrounds, and let's explore that and get to know each other better.
And so that's what your talk is on at the end of this month. And you do other research on that as well, specifically Southern dialect. You have a paper. Real quickly, can you talk about that? It's about the shift in the Southern vowel shift in women from Mississippi.
That's right. So there's something called the Southern vowel shift. And in English, we have approximately 15 different vowel sounds that we produce. So we have a crowded space. And if we move one of those vowels, it gets into the space of the other vowels, so they all have to move. And what we see in the South is a sound like I is sometimes pronounced like ah. So instead of hide, a person might say hod. And we've documented that going on in Mississippi. And it's particularly exciting because in things like the Atlas of North American English, they document Southern dialects, but they only have about 3 speakers from Mississippi. So we really want to get Mississippi on the map.
Good, very interesting. And I want to get something that's very important to you, TESOL. Can you talk about that? What does it stand for, and what is the program? And I know you've done a lot of work with it, so explain to our viewers what TESOL is.
So TESOL stands for Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages. And at Mississippi State, we have a split level undergraduate and graduate program. We're one of the only programs that meets the needs of undergraduate students. Students in our program can either teach overseas. We currently have students teaching English as a foreign language in South Korea, China, Guatemala, Cyprus. We have a student who got a Fulbright to teach English in Colombia. They can also get an endorsement added to their teaching license if they have a background in education or if they go an alternate route, and they can teach ESL in public schools. We have teachers doing that in Mississippi and across the U.S. right now.
That's wonderful. Congratulations on that program. Congratulations on your award. We wish you all the success, and thanks for coming in to talk to us on Vision today.
Thank you for having me. It's
all
great.
Right. Wonderful. Well, we'll catch you on the other side of this break.
It's a simple idea. Knowledge that transforms lives shouldn't be limited to those on a campus, but extended to any and all who want or need it, wherever they are. At Mississippi State University, we've been making that possible for more than 100 years through the MSU Extension Service. What began as an effort to extend the latest research to farmers has become something much more. Today, we're helping Mississippians from all walks of life, giving them the tools they need to build a brighter future. We're sparking the imagination of students around the state and inspiring the next generation of doctors. We're helping rural communities find their way to the internet and connect to the world at large. And we're teaching families how to lead healthier lives in ways both big and small. MSU is standing firm in its commitment to that one simple idea: extend the knowledge that transforms lives wherever they are. Have you ever thought about what it would take to eliminate one of the most dreaded illnesses of the year? At Mississippi State University, we're dreaming big, fast on the heels of scientific discoveries that will lead to the prevention, diagnosis, and treatment of flu and other illnesses. For researchers, the biggest challenge is keeping pace with viruses that are constantly evolving to become more contagious. But at Mississippi State, we have the upper hand. Our scientists are working with teams around the world to predict when and where new viruses will emerge, combining forces to create flu vaccines before epidemics actually hit. That's because, as a premier research university, we believe it is our responsibility to help improve the lives of those around us. And we're working hard to help create a world where the flu is something children will one day read about in history books.
Hey there, welcome back. We've got another very special guest in studio today. I'd like to welcome Dr. Julia Osmond. She's from the Department of History, but is the incoming director of the Institute of the Humanities starting in January. So welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, so the Arts and Sciences Institute for the Humanities.
Yes.
That's a big title for our viewers, for even me, and I work in the college. What is that? What do you all do?
The Institute of the Humanities is an institute that tries to get the humanities in touch with our students and kind of with the greater community. And so what we've done in the past is we've had several speakers come to campus, usually about 6 a year, across the disciplines of the humanities and sometimes even the sciences, who come and present their research in a very user-friendly way to our students and to the people from the community who can come. And we've had people come who have talked about, say, the relationship between, say, neuroscience and philosophy, and how our brain chemistry affects the way we have a sense of morality about things. We've also brought in people like Dr. J. Smith from UNC Chapel Hill, who used a bizarre event in France where a couple killings led to people thinking about a ghost wolf roaming the woods to talk about how we create monsters in our minds, things like that. So we present a broad spectrum of talks and disciplines to people.
And the point is to get people and the students to understand humanities, right? I mean, we think of hard science, we think of research in that area, but humanities is really important. Why is research in humanities important? That people even understand what it is.
I mean, the humanities just underlies everything that we do, whether we're aware of it or not. Neil deGrasse Tyson recently tweeted something like, "Rarely do we learn how data become facts, how facts become knowledge, and how knowledge become wisdom." And he got a huge backstorm from that, because that is exactly what the humanities do. And so we're doing that and learning about that all the time. Because the humanities doesn't just tell us or help us understand what has meaning meaning and what that meaning is, but why it comes to have the meaning it has. Is it a fixed meaning? Can it change? It helps give us a context to understand everything that's going on around us, and therefore it helps us teach a lot of critical thinking skills. Furthermore, humanities is just really important for citizenship. Justice Clarence Thomas recently said at an address at the College of William and Mary that liberal arts means the skills of freedom. If we want to be, meaningful citizens in our countries, we need to know how to discern things, how to critically think about things, how to read, how to consider different points of view, how to, weigh certain measures, and what kind of decisions to make. And the humanities teaches us. And finally, I think the humanities is incredibly important for empathy. The humanities is all about understanding things from somebody else's point of view. And like it or not, we all live in a kind of a global world. No matter where you are, what pocket of the world you live in, your life is dependent on people from all over the world. And so, we really need more than ever to be able to understand different points of view, different cultures, different civilizations.
Wonderful. That's really interesting. And if we had more time, I would ask you more questions about what you said, but I want to get to the fact that you're taking on a new appointment as director of the IH. What was your path to getting to that role, and what does it mean for you professionally to take on that appointment?
Well, I've been at Mississippi State for 6 years now. Before I came here, I also worked a little bit in the digital humanities. So I was familiar with just a little bit beyond my specific discipline of history. And then early on when I came here, I started to get involved in the Institute for the Humanities and doing extra programs for them. And so when Will Hay, who is the current director, looked like he was going to be moving on, they asked me if I could come in and take over.
Yeah, and what does that mean to you? Is it exciting? Are you nervous? How do you feel?
And of course I'm nervous. Of course I'm nervous. I've never been the director of the Institute for the Humanities before. But it's also very encouraging because so many people have come up to me since the appointment was announced and expressed interest or expressed desire to help or had ideas for programs or ways to get students more involved or the community members more involved in what we're doing. And that support has just been marvelous.
That's awesome. I was going to ask you real quick, what is your goal taking on this role moving forward? You have support, but what do you think?
Well, the speaker series has been absolutely fantastic for the campus, and we'll definitely continue those. I'd also like to work on some smaller programs that help students interact with the humanities rather than just kind of absorb it. And I'd also like to expand things out to the community a little bit more. And we've even got a workshop for secondary school teachers coming up in April that we're looking forward to.
Very interesting. Well, thank you so much for sharing this, and congratulations on your new position. We'll see you next time on the next edition of Vision.